Black man, what's the vibes? I'm talking to you today about Gavin Newsom, bro, the governor of California. He got elected in 2019. He's supposed to be the governor for 4 years. He got caught in a big lie, so the Republicans put out a recall for him. They're trying to end his term 2 years early. It's up to you, black man, to decide if Gavin Newsom should leave office 2 years early or should he finish his 4 year term, man. So let's get into the pros about Gavin Newsom. Some of the pros about Gavin Newsom is he put in the AB 392. That's the use of force bill. That's the bill that they made after Stephen Clark got murdered in the backyard by the police officers. So bro was back there. The police killed him, had a cell phone. So now the law states that you got to use necessary force, not reasonable force. So reasonable force is like when a cop says, "Oh, I was scared for my life." So now necessary force, a cop can't use a weak ass line like that no more. He got to have evidence that he was about to be killed. There's no in between about it. And then, following that, another good thing that Gavin Newsom has done is he kept the same policy from his predecessor, Jerry Brown. Jerry Brown never executed any prisoners. Gavin Newsom was his lieutenant governor. Gavin Newsom kept that same kind of energy going, and Gavin Newsom hasn't executed any prisoners too. And on to furthermore prison information, Gavin Newsom has plans of closing Susanville, closing Tracy by September 30th. That's pretty big. The last time one prison was closed was probably 20 years ago, a women's facility in Stockton. But Gavin Newsom's actually closing two of them. It's $22 billion stimulus package signed through Joe Biden. It's the biggest of its kind. No state has ever had a $5.2 billion stimulus package before, so it was actually pretty monumental for Gavin Newsom. Most of that money is going towards debt relief, house payment, rent control, and public schools. On the public school side, most of the money is going towards a preschool enrollment for local elementary schools to have more preschool classes so that kids that's 4 and 3 can go to a regular school versus going to a preschool or a daycare or a Head Start. Is to put them right into a regular elementary like 42nd or Tom Bradley or something around that might. It's trying to trickle down some of those Crystal Stair dollars and get it back into regular school dollars. And then, so another part of that $5.2 billion stimulus is back pay rent. For people that was in a pandemic, didn't pay their rent, and was using the moratorium to lean on, now the moratorium's over. People got backed up rent they got to pay. There's programs like LA Rent Assistance, and that's what Gavin Newsom put in place to help people pay, so a lot of people won't get evicted, and that's part of the $5.2 billion stimulus, and the rest of it is really going to be debt relief. And that leads me to my next point for Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom signed a rent hike control bill. That's basically stating that no landlord can go up over 7% on your rent. So if you're paying like $900 a month right now, you can never go up past 7%. So it'll be $900 this month. Next year, it could never be more than $970. Has to always be around that 7% range. You can't go past that. And that was a big move by Gavin Newsom, because before that, it was unlimited. They can go up $500, $1,000. There was nothing the government could do to step in and stop that. So the rent hike control was actually pretty good. And one more thing that Gavin Newsom did that a lot of people are not giving him credit for is, if noticing it's not a lot of weirdos and stragglers walking on the streets, that's because Gavin Newsom put up a program where it puts people, instead of in shelters, into hotels. So they didn't really want to go to a shelter. They'd rather be inside of a hotel. And can you blame them? Who wouldn't want to be in a hotel versus a shelter? So he spent a lot of money on that. Got a lot of people off the street. Small dent into the homeless crisis, but it was something. So I told you the good stuff about Gavin Newsom. Now it's time to explain all the negative shit with dude. So one of his biggest cons is the nigga is a liar. Last year he put up a mask mandate, closed all public restaurants. The same day he put the mask mandate in, the same day he closed restaurants, he was caught at a restaurant wearing no mask, talking to a group of motherfuckers. He looked stupid as fuck, and that's why they used the recall in the first place. So another negative thing about Gavin Newsom is, dude is pushing the vaccine real tough. Anybody with a government job He's forcing them to get the vaccination. That's anybody that work at the school, any bus driver, fire department, any job like that. You could be cleaning the park for the city. You got to get the vaccine. A lot of people think that that's unnecessary because America hasn't even approved it by the FDA. No vaccine is approved by the FDA, but Gavin Newsom is still forcing people to take the vaccine. It's extremely controversial, to say the least. Another thing that Gavin Newsom did, since he's a Democrat, he raised the taxes. All Democrats raise taxes, so you kind of already got to be alert that if a Democrat's in office, he's going to raise taxes, and Gavin Newsom isn't any different. You know, those child care programs, all that stuff you weren't planning on doing, it isn't free. Another fucked up thing that Gavin Newsom did is he vetoed the fucking child support bill that was supposed to support parents who was on child support from having to pay interest. So you can be on child support, right, bro? And if you miss one payment, the next day they add 10%. So if you owe $200 every month and you miss one payment, then it goes up $20. So in 10 days, you'll be owing $400, you know? So it's real goofy like that. Gavin Newsom decided to keep that law implemented when he could have scratched it to save people like me. Because I promise you that child support bill would have really helped a lot of people out. Another thing that Gavin Newsom did that was extremely negative is he vetoed a bill to bring social workers in versus cops. Say it's a crazy ass kid, bro, getting into it with his mama. He bipolar, schizophrenic, or something like that. They called the police on him. Instead of bringing the police, we voted in 2019 as Californians that we would like to see social workers coming to some of these issues. But Gavin Newsom vetoed that bill. He said it was too early, too premature, and right now he still wants the police to come to the door versus a social worker. Another negative thing that Gavin Newsom did, and it's real wacky too, like, there's just no getting around it. It's a real liberal, far left. He wants to end fracking. He believes that if you frack, you somehow are affecting the weather. And I'm not sure if this is scientifically proven as fact, but it's something that's guaranteed going down because by 2035, Gavin Newsom has plans to shut down all oil refineries in the state. And by 2045, no gas cars. Everything should be electric. He doesn't even want people to sell gas at gas stations. So it's real kooky because if I want to have a Mustang or a Camaro, 91 IROC or something like that, I got the right to choose that, bro. I don't got to go electric because some motherfucker telling me it's affecting the weather. And then another crazy thing that Gavin Newsom did is probably one of the most craziest controversial things too. Gavin Newsom spends millions of dollars on paying for programs for undocumented immigrants. Not regular immigrants, but undocumented. That's people that snuck into the country illegally. They're coming to California as a sanctuary state. And Gavin Newsom is not only turning the blind eye, but he's actually helping these people out. And you know, there's nothing wrong with helping immigrants. Nothing wrong at all. But when you're giving them more money and making it incentives for sneaking into the country, I think it sends the wrong message when you got black people that's been struggling forever, affected by redlining, and for California to turn a blind eye towards redlining, and then instead of helping black people get more home ownership, to go and to give money to undocumented immigrants, to me, it's crazy. But black man, it's up to you to make your decision, man. So you got the pros, you got the cons, you know what he did good, you know what he did bad. Go out there, let your voice be heard. Let niggas know where you stand, bro.